around us, objects, buildings, literally anything that you see in front of you holds a specific frequency to it. And I think when working with intention and pouring feelings and stories and even mental images into the things I'm creating, it is always echoed in the final piece.
Right.
And I believe that it is never a coincidence when a person chooses or has been gifted a product and then decides to share their space with that product. They might need to surround themselves with that frequency, and therefore it has found them in a way. And that might sound like total nonsense to some people, and I get that. And this is why I usually do not share this information. Like, I have the story that I give to my audience, but underneath it lays a deeper meaning that is very personal to me. Like, every single choice I make is directed by my intuition above all. I have to feel the product as I'm creating it. I never start creating something directly on my computer, for example. I really have to be physically in touch with the shapes and the materials and the textures, and I often get bruised and scratched, and I welcome that because it is part of that
Mm.
material's identity, if that makes any sense. I think I have a very light approach to my product, and I mean that in a, like, my mental state is very light. I give them the space and freedom to grow differently than what I had originally planned for them. And I think that's beautiful because at the end of the process, and when I have my final product and I just feel it, I know it's final because I know it, like, just by looking at it and
Mm.
looking back on the first steps of the way. I'm like, wow, this was going in a different direction, and now it makes so much more sense. It just clicks, you know?
Mm. Yeah. So, as you said before, I'm very curious that before maybe you were doing design based on your talent and then what you like, and then over time it helped you find purpose. You mentioned also that your intention always comes through to the object. So maybe it was always there, right? The intention was always there, but was it any different before and after you found the purpose?
Yeah, I mean, the intention, like the starting points of any project will come to me like any other day. Like, there's this inspiring thing that I saw, or there's this heartbreaking story that I lived, or this beautiful, I don't know, like, element that I saw and I want to recreate that or share that, just like translate a feeling or a sensation. And that has always been the same since the beginning. But personally, like, deep down, when I'm creating something, now I know that my fingers, like any other person, I'm not saying I'm special in any way, but I just realized that there's so much responsibility that comes with not only creating, but the intentions that you inject in anything you do in life. And
Right.
creation is a very material form of that. So I think that when I'm creating and I have the intention of, I'm thinking like, this vase is gonna end up in some home, and I want that the person around this vase feels at peace, or maybe something different than peace. But
Right.
I mean, yeah, it does play a big role, but it doesn't change the process. It's just the physical process doesn't change. It's just my mental process that is much more aware and conscious of what I'm
Right.
doing exactly.
Right. That's great. And so, other than being a medium for self-expression, what other ways is design healing or therapeutic for you?
Um, well, first of all, I knew I was healing myself from the experiences or feelings I was trying to express. I'm putting my feelings out there in the world, and somehow it makes me kind of let go. It turns my, like, it's like I'm turning my own stale energies into something productive. And then I just let it go into the universe, and I let it do whatever it has to do, reach the people it has to reach. And
Mm.
then I think everyone can let go afterwards. And I feel I have evolved somehow through my projects. This is how I personally grew through them. And I thought it ended there for me a few years back. Like it's just my own personal healing. And I'm just creating something beautiful and functional that people are going to want to have in their homes. But I thought that the healing, my secret healing uh, uh, vision of it was very personal. But lately, after having some time to reflect on myself during quarantine, and I realized this extends more to the receivers and viewers of the pieces, and the healing is not just limited to me because we all have a lot in common, even though it's not the exact same stories, but feelings
Right.
tend to be redundant.
Right. Yeah, I do agree. Like the concept of wabi sabi, like why a lot of people like it. I'm pretty sure also because they can resonate with it, they can connect with it, and
Yeah,
emotionally drawn to it. So finally they buy it because they have the same frequency with that object. And
exactly.
but it will also be like a reminder for them whenever they see it in their homes. So in a way that is also healing for these people and these receivers. Yeah, so with that, yeah, I think there are in like a lot of aspects, there are artists that make things that will sell. So like they know there's a demand for maybe like a modern style base. So they make it for that market. But there are also some that expresses themselves and hope people are drawn to um, the object that they're creating personally they like. So I think you're the latter one, right? Using um, the object as a self-expression.
The things I make, yes, they have a very emotional value to it. And yes, there's this whole story behind it. But at the end of the day, I always make it a point to create functionality above anything else.
Mm.
Function, function, function. Like there will always be someone who needs the function that I am creating or recreating, to be more accurate. I never follow a market. I follow my gut mostly.
Mm.
And then the right things will just fall into place accordingly. I don't think I have never thought before creating a product like, yeah, I think uh,
People will like this.
people will need this, people will like this, yeah, because now it's a trend or whatever. It's really not like that. It's very personal, and not just personal. Sometimes I actually have a client who's asking me for a specific something for them, and well, they asked for it, and I just have to create it for them, and then we see how it can take new length.
Mm. Finally, going back to finding purpose as a designer, since you've successfully found your passion and your purpose, what advice would you give other people who may have not found their passion or are currently searching for one?
um I don't think I'm in a position to give out advice since, let's face it, I'm still 25. But since I have many friends around me who have not yet found their purpose, I would say stop stressing about it. Just, I know you're in a hurry, and it might be easy for me to say that considering I'm one of the lucky ones who have found what they wanted to do early on. Um, we all have different journeys at the end of the day, and there is no right or wrong. You could find your purpose at 50, and that is totally okay. It's literally the journey that got you to that point that is the most important.
Mm.
So just stop listening to other people's opinion about what you should do. Trust me, if I had said to anyone at the age of 21 that I wanted to start my studio by myself, I would have never heard the end of it. Honestly, like, even me, if somebody came to me and is just a fresh graduate telling me he wants to start his own studio, I would say just go gather experience, gather discipline, gather. And that is all very true. But to me, it happened naturally. I didn't plan on doing that.
Mm.
And this is why I think it worked somehow, because if I had planned on doing it, there would be so much stress involved in the process. So my advice would be just keep doing what makes you happy. even hobbies or anything. Just stay curious and focus on what you love, explore deeper anything that interests you, and one day you'll just wake up knowing. You just know, like when you found your purpose, you'll know it.
Mm. That's awesome. It's important to address also the issue of mental health, right? Like healing, so it can be part of finding that purpose of yours to maybe heal first, and then you'll just naturally find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my last advice would be also like anything you do, just do it lightly. Like everything has to be light. There's no stress. There, like if you put things into perspective, it's not that important. You're just like a tiny ant on the planet right now, and it somehow it doesn't matter, but also what you do matters a lot. So if you just do it lightly and just go with the flow of things that are part of your life, you'll wake up and you will be like, okay, today I am happy, I am doing this, and I know that this is what I want to be doing for a very long time, and this is just the way it is. Then there's so much stress on, like you chose that and you're going to do that for the rest of your life. No, maybe in 15 years I'm going to wake up and be like, maybe I don't want to be a designer anymore, or like today I doubt that would happen. But that's what I want to say. Just keep a very light mindset and do it with love, and you will find what you're looking for.
Hmm. Sometimes if it's too heavy, then you just never will make the leap, right? You will never want to heal. You will never want to try something new. So it's very inspirational, your journey and what you do with product design. Because a lot of people do think very lightly on product design. I think we need to be aware of the length and the messages it can project out. So thanks a lot for sharing.
Thank you for having me.